Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm JSimLady and this is a Sims 4 speed build. Actually it's 3 Sim 4 speed builds. It's one room, 3 different styles. I have a couple of fascinations. One is to take a real life house. I've done this a few times now on my channel, but it's to take a real life house and show how you can update it, sometimes with a little more work. A couple of years ago, I did this with my sister's house where I showed her different ways she could take her old farmhouse and make it a little more contemporary to fit her style and have it look better. In that case, though, she has to do quite a bit of work to achieve that goal, just because her house is an older farmhouse and it needed some work regardless of what style she was gonna go with it. But another example was a childhood home of mine that I grew up in, very traditional. It's a 4 square home and it's very traditional. They did do some updates to it right after I graduated high school that kind of modernized it in certain areas a little bit, while leaving some of that more traditional 4 square sort of aesthetic there in other spots. And they mixed it really well, which gave me the idea of how can we make this even better yet and make it even more modern, but leaving like the archway from the living room into the dining room and leaving the ceiling in the dining room because it's got that 4 square ceiling molding that is what that house gets its name from. But it has a beautiful open staircase that's very modern now and stuff like that. And if you do a couple of other tweaks to it that would not be major construction for the most part, you can even make it more modern while still keeping the beauty of that 4 square wood woodwork throughout the house that's there. And I did that a few years ago as well. And then recently I took a southern ranch home in Florida and I did not do any construction on it at all. I just painted and fixed up the flooring and I rearranged the way some of the rooms were being used, and it really gave it a whole new life, basically. So I'm very fascinated by that kind of stuff, and that got me on the path of, well, you could do that with a basic living room space, or I guess kitchen or bedroom or whatever, but in this case living room space. You can take a basic builder living room. This one has a built-in bay window and it's got that little entryway area to the side, and you can dress it up to be almost any style that you want, really, without changing the windows, without even changing the flooring. The flooring can stay put. In this case, I did put wood panels on the walls, but even just a beige plaster textured paint would work fine too. At first, I wasn't gonna put the doorways that lead into the rest of the house, or would typically lead into the rest of the house. I did eventually add them in just because I wanted to show how you would also decorate around those and how it would look with those in there. But at this point, I was like, I'll just leave those spots on the wall blank and I just won't put anything in those areas. But then I thought, what's the point of that? You might as well have the doors there so you can really show it off, right? So anyways, you with just wood paneling on the walls and the almost monochromatic furniture and just being very light and airy and having plants in a few different spots gave it a sort of slightly organic, slightly modern, contemporary, almost boho look to it. It's very on the pink and yellow side for sure, so it's not everybody's taste, but it gives you that light, airy pink boho. And as you can see here, as we move on over into the modern living room, I left everything. I left the shape of the room, the bay window. The front door is even the same front door. I didn't even change that. No major construction, just changing the walls. In this case, a dark gray and white plaster. And then we have black curtains to go with that. And now we've turned this into a modern living room. Now, my first instinct was to add plants in that bay window and put the couch facing the big wall. In the previous living room, I put the TV on the side wall. Typically in a real life house, that, or even in a Sims house, honestly, that wall on the side there would be facing the side yard, and I figured it wouldn't matter, especially with the curtains over the window. It wouldn't, or windows, I should say, it wouldn't matter that there was a TV on that wall, but I didn't want to do that again, because that's not typically something people do. They don't cover up windows with TVs. So I wanted to make this more realistic by putting the TV on the wall that most people would put the TV on. But I didn't want to go overly planty, overly naturey and organic. I wanted this one to be very sleek and glass and metal and accent lighting. I just wanted it to be very sleek, modern. I wanted to show how you could take a basic bay, built-in bay window like that, and even a typically what would be country or traditional wooden white front door. I mean, you could even paint your front door, but in this case, I didn't even do that, change the color of the front door, but you could paint your front door, probably black in this case, to match the curtains maybe, or charcoal gray to sort of blend in with that wall. But you don't have to do any major construction, and I used kitchen cabinets as the TV stand. Especially these ones feel very modern to me, and they have what appear to be like accent lighting towards the bottom there, and who couldn't use more storage, right? And you can see, really, just by changing the color scheme, already it gave it a completely, totally different look. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you would have first looked at this room empty with nothing in it, you would have thought traditional living room, traditional door, traditional built-in bay window, very, maybe cozy, casual, and definitely not modern. And yet, you can, with the right furnishings, the right color combination, you can absolutely turn this room modern. Now, I'll admit I did struggle with this one a little bit more than the other ones, because I feel like the modern furniture available in this game is, I'm gonna say it, there's no other way to say it. I feel like some of the modern furniture in this game is a little weird. I'm sorry if that offends you. I don't mean to be offensive. It's not ugly per se, but I guess it's not the kind of modern that I like. It goes a little too hard on the sleek and stone and metal. You know what I mean? It's a little too, impersonal. It's a little too doctor office for me. You know, so I struggle with it a little bit more than I do the other styles, just because it reminds me of being in a sleek modern hospital or something. And I tried to warm it up a little bit without going back into the traditional realm of things, but I think I struggled a little bit more with this one, which is why it took a little bit longer for me to scroll through and find exactly what I thought would fit. But in the end, you get a modern living room. And now here we are on the last one, and I thought, just for fun, just to be silly and fun, I would take the shape of this and do what is probably found in the most typical American house, the sort of granny, cat lady, flea market thrifted, sort of eclectic look, just to be fun, because even though I don't like this style, there are actually a lot of people out there that do like this style. And oddly enough, I guess, or maybe not oddly enough, the Sims 4 lends itself really well to this style. So this one, the couch is, I keep it? We might get rid of the couch. Maybe not. I don't remember. But it's definitely like flea market, outdated, thrifted, whatever. But the the purpose of the room is for the cats, not the people anyways, or for the people to watch TV. Like, I was thinking older couple, who have a bunch of cats or whatever, and their only purpose for being in this room is to watch TV. Otherwise, it's just for the cats to play in. But I mean, there are so many different ways you can do like a granny style room, that it doesn't have to be eclectic flea market style. That's just the one that I went with because I wanted to do something fun and different from the other two, rather than just another boring, sort of more contemporary, modern looking room. I wanted it to be a little old fashioned, a little outdated, a little. This room was last decorated in the 80s and they liked it so much they never changed it. You know what I mean? This one is definitely the more cluttered of the three rooms because they had this room like this for a very long time. It's collected a little bit more stuff, and they got a lot of their stuff from maybe, the local garage sales that happen every summer or whatever over time. You know what I'm saying, right? I think we all get the idea. So, yeah, obviously, three very different rooms, three very, very different styles, and yet it's really just the same base room copied and pasted three times. All three of these rooms are on the gallery. They've been available to download forever on the gallery. By the way, I keep forgetting to mention this, but my gallery ID is no longer JSim_lady. I finally got the system, the EA system, to accept JSimLady without the underscore. So now if you look up JSimLady user ID on the gallery, you should be able to find me. So that was pretty cool. I actually did that a while ago. I just keep forgetting to mention it in the videos. Most of my links should link to my new gallery name, hopefully. But yeah, you can just type in JSimLady. Even if you typed in the hashtag JSimLady, I do have some of my stuff hashtagged with that as well, so you can find my profile through that too. But yeah, one room, three vastly different styles, and I think they all turned out well. I'm gonna be honest though, my favorite is the first one. If I had a room like this and money was no object and I could decorate it however I wanted, that very first one that I did would probably be the way that I do it. But these other two were really fun to build too. And if you'd like me to try this with other rooms in the future, just let me know down in the comments. I think the thing that this works best in is like living rooms and bedrooms, because I think most people can look at kitchen cabinets and go, okay, I see how that can take a kitchen more modern or more traditional or whatever, like the big furniture piece in your kitchen is going to be your kitchen cabinets. And that alone can really, I mean, it does really take it one way or the other. So I think kitchens are pretty basic, and you don't get stuck thinking too much about it. You see a modern cabinet and you're like, okay, this is modern, this is how we make this kitchen modern. But if you are stuck on seeing how just changing cabinetry and adding a few accessories can change the style, let me know. So let's do a little like first person view of these rooms so you can really get a feel for them. This really is a fun room. I really did have fun decorating this one. Even if it's not my style, I can definitely appreciate the colors and the textures and everything of it that really bring it together. So it's definitely a fun room. And that is like the granny cat lady chic style there. And then the next one we're entering is actually the first one I did with that light, natural, modern, organic, boho kind of look, I guess. And it's kind of borderline naturey and plant lovery, but just very wood heavy, wood tone heavy, pink wood tone heavy, and just kind of almost monochromatic. So there's that one. And then the last one we're going to go into here is the modern one. Vastly different look, and all we did was paint the walls, hang different curtains. I'll speak someday. I'll learn how to speak someday. But the furnishings really gave it that really modern, sleek look. And I'll turn around there for you there. And the color scheme as well also helps with that. Otherwise, it's basically the same room, just 3 different styles. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more like it, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, and if you're feeling really up to it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!